Well, we're certainly pleased to welcome you all here tonight for our dress rehearsal to the sophomore program, Today Becomes a Memory. I noticed before I got all these bright lights in my eyes, a lot of young people in the audience tonight. And I'm sure that these sophomores remember very well when they were your age. The years go very quickly. I saw some parents here tonight, and I remember when some of them were sophomores. So we know that the time we have right now very quickly does become a memory. Makes the days that we have quite precious to us. So we'll begin with the opening song today. Most of us remember quite well the first time we did something or had an experience. I would imagine most of you remember your first day in school. Some of you remember the first time you drove a car, your first bounce check. Today, Margaret Musser is going to tell us about her memories of her first football game.
Shall I tell you about the very first football game I ever saw? Actually, I didn't see it very well because Harry couldn't afford very good seats. In fact, the seats we had were so far back, we found it was better to sit on a very sturdy branch that was growing over the stadium, and even that was crowded. I was constantly making room for others up there. 6 crows and 3 red-headed woodpeckers. I must admit, Harry did everything possible to make me comfortable. We had popcorn and Cracker Jacks and peanuts and ice cream bars. And the best thing is, Harry promised to pay me back the very next day. Harry taught me the idea of the game. You see, a man has to carry the football from one end of the field to the other end. Isn't that a perfectly silly thing to make a game out of? But there they were, grown men, running, falling, kicking all over the place. Just have the ball for a few seconds. Why, they could have saved up their money so each player could have one. My biggest confusion came when I tried to tell our team from the enemy team. Harry said our team was the team with the ball, but pretty soon the other team had the ball, and there I was, all confused again. And then there was the time I looked down, and there was a man carrying a bass drum instead of a football. I asked Harry about this, and he said it was the half. Certainly looked like a whole drum to me. Then it was the musicians' turn to play. Not football, of course. They played music. I guess somebody must have kicked the football way over the fence, because they were gone for a long time trying to find it. But pretty soon they found it, and they all came whooping back again. I asked Harry why they got in a big secret huddle before each play. He just looked at me kind of funny and didn't say anything. But I begged him and begged him, and finally he broke down and told me what the big secret was. You see, it seems the enemy team was trying to play a dirty trick on our team. They were going to plant 50 tons of dynamite in one corner of the field, and then they're going to try and lead our team over it, and boom! The whole game would be over. I asked Harry if this was strictly according to the rules. He just smiled mysteriously and said nothing. Funny thing, though, as much as both teams plotted to blow each other up, nothing ever happened. This incident really made me look up to Harry. He was the only one there who knew the secret. He knows just about everything, and he tells it all to little old me. He even explained to me about the funny little men in striped shirts. You see, they're afraid of the football. Can you believe that? So they stand off to one side and play their own game, whistle blowing. Every time a man fell down or did anything, these funny little men would blow the whistles like mad and make crazy motions with their arms. Harry said it was all part of the game. I finally got the game figured out. You see, each man has a player on its back. And if each man has a number on his back. If player number 67 catches the ball, his team gets 67 points. If player 88 catches the ball, his team gets 88 points. Somehow, this doesn't seem quite fair to the little numbers like 12 and 15, does it? Well, it was an exciting game all the way, and the final score was 5,935 to 0.
Memories that we have are the things we do with our brothers and sisters. A pair of brothers in our class, Brian and Warren Barlow, will now perform an instrumental duet for us. Some of the things that make the memories we enjoy telling about over the years don't seem so pleasant at the time. Sometimes rather frightening, sometimes a bit embarrassing. Remember the time your car ran out of gas out on a country road? Possibly first time you got an F on a test? Don't know if you've ever had the experience these young people have had here of being caught in an elevator when the power went off. It'd be kind of frightening at the moment. The sophomore class will now present a little skit, The Lift.
Try the alarm.
Which button is it?
I don't know. Try them all.
I'm afraid I'll press the wrong one.
Then we'll go up a floor or down a floor.
But the door might open.
Good. Then we'll get out of here.
But we could be between floors.
And we'll find out, won't we? There. I found my light. Let me try the alarm. It must be dead. Try this one.
It's probably a power failure.
You mean we've been struck by lightning?
Listen, don't panic. This building has a backup generator.
How do you know?
Because I've been stuck in these elevators before.
I think this is also very exciting.
You think this is exciting, do you?
I don't think this is exciting. I have claustrophobia.
I'm sure they'll have the problem fixed in a few minutes.
How long have we been stuck in this thing anyway?
About 10 minutes.
I've already missed my bus. There isn't another one for an hour. I love storms. How can you love storms? They're so exciting. Don't you think this is exciting?
No, I don't. I do this on the average of twice a month. And tonight, I have to be across town in a half an hour.
Do you remember the last time this happened?
I certainly do. I was on the 29th floor of my doctor's building. I had to walk down all 29 floors in the dark. Makes you appreciate elevators, doesn't it? Until you're stuck in one.
You know, it's really getting hot in here.
But I'm sure our friend here thinks that's exciting too.
I remember the last time this happened. I was in a restaurant, and all the lights went out, and all the waiters brought candles to all the tables. It was so romantic. The blackout you're talking about lasted for hours.
I'm telling you, the whole city isn't knocked out this time.
How do you know?
Because that time, the city's generators were overloaded. This is just one generator struck by lightning. I'm sure they'll get the problem fixed.
Maybe the generator that services the
In that case, we could be here a while.
That's what I was afraid of. Help! Someone, we're in here. We're
My
stuck.
finger's going numb holding this light.
Don't let it go out. Please don't let it go out. Wait. I think I have a bigger flashlight in my purse.
Good. Thanks.
Why doesn't anyone out there hear us?
It wouldn't do any good if they did. Without power, the doors won't open.
What floor do you think we're on?
I think we're pretty close to the ground level.
What makes you think that?
Because I'm sure I seen the third floor light go on just before we stopped.
Now how long has it been?
What difference does it make?
I want to know, that's all.
30 minutes.
The buses run every 2 hours after 6.
You're a very negative person. Do you know that?
I am not.
Yes, you are.
I am not.
Yes, you
Come
are.
on, you two. Having an argument isn't gonna solve a thing.
Hey! Why don't we introduce ourselves? My name is Marilyn. Marilyn Fontaine.
I'm Bob Edison.
If you were Tom Edison, you could figure out a way to get us out of here. Or at least make the lights work.
I'm Carol Cheney. I handle complaints for the telephone company.
No wonder you're so negative.
I am not negative. My heavens, it's hot in here. What's your name?
Harry Senior.
What do you do, Harry, besides get
one-act plays for schools and small theater groups.
How exciting!
Right, exciting.
You haven't told us your name yet.
You're right, I haven't. Whoa! That was a close one. This is terrific. I mean, whoever thought of doing a scene in an elevator?
Shh! Listen, I hear someone running.
We're here! We're stuck! No!
Don't panic, please. I hate panic.
I can't help it! I'm scared! I just know we're gonna die!
We are not going to die. Will someone please tell her we're not going to die?
We are not going to die.
We're not going to die.
Listen, Carol. As soon as the lights are on and the power, as soon as the lights are on and the doors are open, you realize how exciting this whole thing was. And you can tell your husband about it. Later.
I'm not married, and my dog has to get out for his walker and start barking and bothers the neighbors. The superintendent told me the next time he bothers the neighbors, I have to get rid of him.
Don't worry, your superintendent may be stuck in his own elevator, for all you know.
You think it's like the soul of the city too, don't you? You think it may be hours before we get out. You're just trying to keep me calm.
Listen, Carol. Someone knows we're in here.
Let's try the alarm again. Marilyn, shine your flashlight at the panel, will you?
Don't open the door. Whatever you do, don't open the door.
Too late. It's already open.
I don't believe it. We're safe.
You know, we were never in any danger. We were on the ground floor all the time.
What was that?
What was that?
The cables broke.
We could have been between floors.
He's right.
Oh, good
Help!
heavens!
Help!
Somebody call an ambulance!
Well, in a little bit more serious vein, all of us look with a lot of gratitude to our parents for helping us arrive at the place we are today and making us what we are. The sophomore boys will now sing for us, "I'm Glad God Chose Me to Be Your Son."
You were there when I needed you to guide me. When I stumbled, you were there to take my hand. You were proud every time you walked beside me. In 1,000 ways I didn't understand. Oh, Dad, I never thought that I would ever find the words to thank you for the many things you've done. I want to say I love you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm glad that God chose me to be your son. There were times when I didn't know the reasons, when you stood by me and never asked me why. As our moments melted softly into seasons, I learned that I had wings enough to fly. Oh, Dad, I never thought that I would ever find the words to thank you for the many things you've done. I want to say I love you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm glad that God chose me to be your son. Yes, I'm glad that God God chose me to be your son.
Some things that are absolutely unforgettable. You try to forget them, but you can't. Now, if I'd had the experience that we're going to hear about next, I think that would be one of those things. Holly Jessup will present a reading for us, Too Late for the Train.
When they reached the depot, Mr. Mann and his wife gazed in unspeakable disappointment at the departing train. Their first impulse was to rush after it, but it was out of sight before they could act upon the impulse. They turned homeward. When they arrived, Mr. Mann broke the silence. It all comes from having to wait for a woman to get ready. I was ready before you were. Great heavens! Just listen to that. And I sat on the front porch 10 minutes yelling at you to come down until the whole town heard me. Yes, and every time I started down the stairs, you would send me back for something else you had forgotten. This is too much to bear. Everyone knows that if I were going to Europe, I would rush into the house, put on a clean shirt, grab my bag, and go. But you would want at least 6 months for preliminary preparation, and then waste the whole day getting started until every train had left town. It was finally decided that they would take their trip next week. It was agreed that each would get himself or herself ready, go to the train, and go. The one who failed to be prepared would be left. The day of their match arrived in due time. The train was to leave at 10:30. Mr. Mann, after attending to his business, went home at 9:45. Now then, 3/4 of an hour to get ready. Fly around. A fair field and no favors, you know. Mr. Mann went into his room, into the closet, and into the next room, chuckling to himself all the while to think how cheap Mrs. Mann would feel when he started off alone. He stopped on his way downstairs to pull off his shoes to save time. For the same reason, he pulled off his coat. When he passed through the dining room, he hung it in the china closet. As he rushed through the downstairs hall, he tossed his vest on the hat rack. By the time he reached his own room, he was all ready to plunge into his clean clothes. He pulled open the bureau drawer and began to fumble the things like a Scotch terrier after a rat. Eleanor, where are my shirts? In your bureau drawer. Well, but they aren't here. I pulled everything out and there's nothing that I've seen before. Those things scattered all over the floor are mine. Probably you haven't been looking in your own drawer. I don't see why you couldn't have put my things out for me when you've had nothing else to do all morning. Because no one put mine out for me. A fair field, no favors, dear. Mr. Mann plunged into his shirt like a bull at a red flag. Hell! No buttons on the neck? It's because you have it wrong side out. When Mr. Mann slid out of his shirt, he began to sweat. He dropped it 3 times before he got it on. The clock struck 10. Where are my shirt studs? Didn't you... Your studs are in the shirt you just took off. Your studs are in the shirt you just took off. As Mrs. Mann was pulling on her gloves, Mr. Mann was searching up and down for his cuff buttons. Eleanor, you must know where those cuff buttons are. Didn't you set them on the window seat in the sitting room? Mr. Mann remembered, ran down the stairs, stumbled over his shoe, and was immediately rolling over and landed in the middle of the hall floor on his chin. Algernon, aren't you nearly ready yet? Can't you kick down my other shoe? Mrs. Mann kicked it down. Is my valise packed? Not unless you packed it yourself. Goodbye, dear. As Mrs. Mann disappeared out the front door, he called after her. Where is my vest? You threw it on the hat rack. Before she reached the corner, she was hailed again. Eleanor! Eleanor! Eleanor Mann! Where is my coat? You hung it in the china closet. The streetcar engulfed her graceful form, and she was seen no more. But the neighbors say they heard Mr. Mann charging up and down the stairs, shrieking after Mrs. Mann to know where his valise key was and if she had seen his clean socks and collar. When he went at last, he left the front door, kitchen door, all the downstairs windows, and the gate wide open. The loungers around the depot were somewhat amused to see a flushed young man, his hat on sideways, vest unbuttoned, necktie flying, a suitcase popping open, and a door key in his hand, dash wildly across the platform and glaring in dejected wrath and humiliation at the departing train, and shaking his fist at a pretty young woman who was blowing kisses at him from the rear platform of the last car.
In many of our class programs, we try to feature brother-sister and sister-sister combinations. We have quite a unique situation in this sophomore class. We have 4 sisters. I'm sure that with 4 sisters, there's a lot of sharing to do. So the Ream sisters will now sing for us, Sharing. I'm sure most of the adults here remember some of the old television programs that used to be on 25, 30 more years ago. I remember the old Lone Ranger program sponsored by Cheerios, it seems. Remember getting those special packages of Cheerios with the black mask on the back that you could cut out, and the white cardboard piece inside with the picture of the Lone Ranger on his horse Silver. Coloring contest sometimes on those. I remember sending one in that I'd worked on for quite a time with the anticipation that I was going to win myself a white horse fully saddled. I don't know what I'd have done with it if I'd ever won it. But for those of you with a few more years especially, remember back with us now as the sophomore class presents The Lone Stranger.
Without it. This product has the seal of approval from the Environmental Protection Agency. Get Smell Guard deodorant today in the large economy size. You won't save dollars, but we guarantee you'll save yourself some cents.
Our story opens as Lone and Toronto are riding their horses, Sliver and Scoot, toward the town of Stiff City, a real dead town. They are talking.
Ah, Toronto, here we are riding again.
Yes, Kemoslavi. Seems we always start episode this way.
It's been a rough ride. Through the mud, through the desert, over mountains.
We never understand how your horse always stay white. My horse white once too, but that many moons ago.
Why do you always talk about moons? Are you a lunatic?
No, just in a daze.
Well, what's on the schedule for today?
Let me look, Kemoslavi.
I wish I knew what that word meant. He's been calling me that ever since we left Tombstone.
Here it is. Script for October 15th. Look like we chased Bingo Boys this week. They escaped from prison yesterday.
The Bingo Boys, huh? 2 real cards. Given a life sentence for running an illegal bingo operation on the boardwalk of Dodge City. Their days are numbered.
We remember their prison numbers. B8, G9.
B8, G9, bingo!
Don't start, Kemoslavi.
Did you hear that, Toronto? Gunshots! The stage is being robbed! Ohio Sliver!
Ohio? Massachusetts, dude.
Lone and Toronto hurried to the stage. It was the Bingo Boys, all right. They had robbed the stage. But as usual, they arrived too late to help.
Why we always arrive too late?
Your horse always slows us down.
Scoot, good horse. Training wheel slow Scoot down.
It's too late, Masked Man.
Don't worry. This mask's on the side of the law and always will be.
Be glad he wear mask. Believe me, he look better with mask.
What did they take, driver?
Everything. Horses, stage, prom singer.
By George, he stripped stage.
They're planning to set up a traveling bingo show in Stiff City. As soon as they get some money and prizes.
Quickly, let's head to Stiff City, Toronto. Ohio Sliver!
Arizona, Scoot.
Now a word from our sponsor, Crust Toothpaste.
Crust toothpaste. Crust fights cavities by removing the major cause of tooth decay, your teeth. Our improved blend of caustic ingredients
is endorsed by the Council of Dental Therapeutics of the American Denture Association. Try Crust toothpaste today and you'll never use regular toothpaste again.
Now back to our story. Lone and Toronto ride their horses, Sliver and Scoot, toward the sheriff's office in Stiff City. We meet them there.
Take everything you want, mister. Just leave my pretty pad.
Don't worry. This mess on the side of the law and always will be.
Haven't we heard that somewhere before?
Does this mean anything to you?
No. Does this mean anything to you?
That's easy. Latest rain dance.
Oh, shucks, he guessed. Well, a chrome bullet. What's this say? Made in Japan. There's only one man who carries a chrome bullet made in Japan. So where'd you get it, Claude?
Yes, a chrome bullet. Silver's expensive these days.
Oh, you're the lone stranger. Never would have known you without the Indian.
Yes, it's me. We're after the Bingo Boys. They're heading this way.
Sheriff, somebody just held up the bank.
Someone's holding up the bank?
That mighty heavy bank.
Last guy that tried that got a hernia.
What happened? Can you give me an account?
Oh, leave him alone.
I was just checking. I wanted to see his interest.
Not his fault. Not his fault. He's just compounding the problem.
Lone and Toronto enter the bank.
There's nothing left to take, mister. Don't worry. This mess on the side of the law and always will be. I'd like $50 in traveler's checks, please.
American Express?
Never leave home without them. How much you give me for pure white horse?
And now, a word from the makers of scrunchies.
You've heard of the Breakfast of Champions? Well, scrunchies are for those who just want to make it to the semifinals. Scrunchies contain 20% iron, 30% copper, 15% steel, and 55% zinc. They don't snap, crackle, or pop. They just lie there and rust.
Now back to our episode, so to speak. Lone and Toronto leave the town of Stiff City and head for their camp in the hills. We meet them there.
Lon, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Why you always call me Toronto when my real name is Fred?
Well,
Why we always camp out in Dusty Hills when Holiday Inn right down the road.
I heard something! Don't worry! This mouse on the side of the law and always will be.
All together now. This man's on the side of the law and always will be.
Me, Chief Fireman!
We can tell.
This is my friend Running Nose. We in big trouble.
You mean a whole lot.
Not a whole lot, a little lot. 10-acre reservation on the other side of the hill.
What happened?
The Bingo Boys, they stole our ceramic kits. We won them in a raffle.
Oh, pottery lottery.
That's right. How will we make souvenirs for Wayman now? Can you help us?
I think so. You go back to reservation and tell your braves to keep calm. We'll think of something. Toronto, you have two options. One, you can go keep the Indians calm.
Can't do that. Couldn't get close. Need reservation.
Then you'll have to go into town and get some more help.
Why always me going to town? I always get shot or put in jail. You go this time.
No, I have to stay here.
Let me put it this way. How you feel as only Indian in white man town?
Yes, but
I tell Chief Firemouth you call him Sissy.
that's different. Well, I guess we'll have to hit the trail together. Do you hear anything? I don't see anything.
We think we hear something.
Now a word from our alternate sponsor, Never Sharp.
Never Sharp is the greatest name in ballpoint pens. You can get the $75 model, the Wrights and Butter, or the $1.98 model, the Wrights over margarine. Never Sharp has the only meat ballpoint, the Wrights and spaghetti. Never Sharp, the dull pen for the man with a pointed head.
Now back to our story. Because of their effective tracking technique, Lone and Toronto soon catch up with the outlaws, the Bingo Boys, and corner them in the Grand Canyon. Disaster strikes, however, as Lone, sure of foot but not of mind, is separated from Toronto and is captured by the Bingo Boys. Is this the end of our hero? Has he reached the last roundup? Is he headed toward the big stranger station in the sky?
All right, this is it, stranger.
Yeah, your jig is up.
Is it showing?
All right, off with mask.
I love this next line. I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Ah, shut up.
Let's shoot him anyway.
Wow! Indians all over the place!
Oh no, we're goners.
That right. Drop him, you.
Good work, Toronto! Remind me to give you an English lesson later. I didn't think you'd get the whole Apache tribe to help us out.
What hell? I tell Chief you call him Sissy.
In short order, Lone and Toronto bring the Bingo Boys to justice, as well as hold off 10,000 wild Apaches. They return to Stiff City to bid the sheriff farewell.
Well, adios, Sheriff.
Why do you speak Spanish all of a sudden? Me have enough trouble with English.
Well, you've done us a great favor.
Yes, as my father once said, when Bull runneth geese through tall grass, and wild trees will jump on teepee while empty buckets fly over mountainside.
What?
Crime doesn't pay.
I got the wrong show. Well, anyway, adios.
Now, somehow it really doesn't seem like those shows were quite like that. It's possibly my memory's deteriorating or something. Now, Mark Twain said in his autobiography, "When I was young, I could remember anything, whether it had happened or not. Now that I'm growing older, my faculties are decaying. Soon it's going to be that I can't remember anything but the things that never happened." Now, for our next number, the girls are going to sing a little song that reminds us that if we spend too much of our time just looking at the little everyday things in life, we may miss some of the most memorable experiences that we can have. The sophomore girls will sing for us, "Nearly Missed."
Looking at my feet at a crack in the sidewalk, an old tin can by the side of the road. I nearly missed a rainbow, I nearly missed a sunset, I nearly missed a shooting star going by. While studying a brand new hole in my sneaker, I'm finding a quarter and an old bus token. I nearly missed a rainbow, I nearly missed a sunset, I nearly missed a shooting star going by. Looking down at the ground means you know where you're going. Nowhere else to lead you astray. But you can't ever have any kind of dreams that way. While looking at my feet at a crack in the sidewalk, an old tin can by the side of the road, I nearly missed a rainbow. Don't wanna miss a rainbow. I wouldn't miss a shooting star going by, passing me by, going right by.
Before the students begin their final number, we'd like to acknowledge a few of the people who have helped put this performance together. We certainly appreciate the parents and their support and the patience they've had with us while their sophomores came home late every night and stayed up half the night on their homework. We appreciate very much the work of Helen Musser as our accompanist on the group songs, the efforts that she's put forth to meet our practices and help the students work on their singing. Recognize the work of Daniel Roy Barlow, Frank Barlow on the lighting, Joseph Barlow Jr., and very much appreciate the work of my wife Norma in helping put these skits together and coordinate the program. Now, if the class is ready, before they sing the song, we'd like to draw the curtain and have Frank Johnson make a brief announcement.
We, the sophomore class of 91-92, would like to present two special people that we have chosen as our representatives. We thank them for their efforts in preparing this program, in organizing the cleanup project, the sophomore project. We'd like them to step forward, Carol Barlow and Daniel Bradshaw. I want to thank Norma and Mr. Richter, along with the rest of my classmates, for the tremendous amount of effort they've put in producing this program, directing the skits, and helping us with the songs. And we'd personally like to thank Helen for playing the piano. And I'd like to give them a hand.
Very much appreciate this sophomore class and their cooperation and efforts on the program. There's one more acknowledgement that we need to make before they sing their final song. The words to this song, which they chose as their theme song, were written by a sophomore last year who is now a junior, Marie Musser. The sophomores will now sing. Beg pardon? Oh, freshman last year, excuse me. All right. They'll now sing for us, "Today Becomes a Memory."